30-25 win in the Big 12 this past weekend, beating Houston in overtime. Donovan Smith made up for his mistakes. I still have a lot of questions about the offensive line, but through a couple of weeks, how they looked against Murray State, beating Houston, the way they did, yes, it was a better first half and second half, but they took care of business. They won the game.
Is it good on levels, or do you still need to turn it down?
Pretty darn good for most of that game. I am putting Texas Tech in that number 3 spot this week. Remember, this is not about what I think is going to happen. This is about what you've actually done. At number 4, in our Big 12 football power rankings, I am putting the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State took care of another Power 5 program over the weekend in Arizona State. They beat Central Michigan. Most of the games
this way turns it
and
out.
I'm looking at Oklahoma State and saying, okay, Spencer Sanders continuing to prove that he's more than a game manager. He's got plenty of weapons. Kansas was 2-0. My play, 99-yard drive, game-winning drive for the Cyclones was a thing to a team 5-6 yards there. Football from 1942, watching that 21-play, 99-yard drive for the Cyclones. That was interesting to watch, fun to watch. So Iowa State's at number 6 this week. At number 7, this may surprise some of you, but I've got the Baylor Bears at number 7 in our Big 12 football power rankings. That Provo, Utah is going to be a tough place to play. I talked about it in the reaction show on Sunday. That is going to be a tough place to play. I don't know if you saw this, but the Raiders were huge for that game. They were enormous for that game. It was very impressive to see some of the numbers that came down in that one. So already out of the gates, you are seeing that Big 12 after dark has some juice to it. I will pull up those numbers for you so that way you have them as well. Let me share these with you before I get to why I've got them where I do. ESPN's best late-night game since 2016 with 2.4 million viewers. BYU and Baylor. That's a great number. Now, you go Provo, Utah. You play a tough game on the road in that spot. Yes, they lost. Yes, it wasn't always pretty, but that is one of the toughest games, if not the toughest game, outside of Alabama and Texas, that anybody in the Big 12 has played this season on the road at Provo, Utah. You lose in overtime, tough one. I'm putting Baylor at number 7. number 8 in our Big 12 football power ranking, I've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Now remember how I do this. It's not how I think the season's going to play out. It's not my projections of the standings. It's what have you actually done? Oklahoma has not. That's right, man. Oklahoma, based on who they've played thus far, based on what they've actually done in two league. You got them in a Big 12 title game at the end of the season against Baylor. But right now, what they've done, what they've shown, who they played, I can't justify putting Oklahoma above 8 in my Big 12 football power rankings right now. At number 9, and let's be honest here, when all said and done, Oklahoma in the Big 12 going to Nebraska this weekend. TCU at number 9. They got a really good win against Tarleton, but it's Tarleton, and their win against Colorado is looking less impressive considering Air Force just beat Colorado by 30-some-odd points. Oh, jeez. So, not an ideal situation. You should be very happy. You had 15 guys that caught passes in that game on Saturday, so clearly Sonny Dykes thinks he... This week, that's going to be a very intriguing this former team at SMU. But I've got TCU at number 9 right now. And at number 10, might just be about 10 or something. 12, blow at home to Kansas. Now, I love where Kansas is trending, but that is a bad loss. Bad loss. The switch is a leg, not line on the back. And should be on the hot seat. Big 12 football power rankings one more time. 1 through 10. Pete Mundo on Heartland College Sports. K-State at 1. Texas at 2. Texas Tech at 3. Oklahoma State at 4. Kansas at 5. Iowa State at 6. The 14th, 15th, and 16th. It's 4 folks and 5 with K101. Oh my goodness, we're not rolling along here from Studio A in Woodward as we speak. The good representative, his name is Dr. Carl Newton. He's going to be on switchboards coming up here in just a bit. And so we get underway with, what's this, the 39th year of Friday Night Quick Scores, week number 3. Over on Z92 tonight, we hope you will enjoy the Z92 presentation of the Woodward Boomers and Newcastle Racers with the call, Tyler, Dakota, and Eric. Tyler, good evening to you and your bunch. Are you ready for a little Woodward Newcastle football tonight on Z92?
good for the Boomers to play on turf tonight. Most everybody plays on turf except you and me. So, Newcastle has some good facilities. I didn't know that they've ever originated, but I have, and they originated the broadcast in Newcastle. Nice facilities for the Boomers to play tonight. Put back on the right foot somehow. Notwithstanding what happens tonight with the Woodwards and the Racers, if you will, the real season begins next week. The district play in Oklahoma, specifically for the Boomers. Cash, Weatherford, Chickasha, John Marshall, Elk City, and Clinton. That's the real important time of the season. Actually, you can go 0-3 in the non-district and win the state championship, if you will. So next week's important, or this week's obviously important as a game, but more the season really gets underway next week. right out of here. We'll take a break and let you get into your pre-game.
Here's Tyler Riggs.
For the past 57 years, Woodward Mechanical served Woodward and Northwest Oklahoma for all your residential plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and construction. No call, doesn't hour. Woodward Mechanical, 1301 Main Street, or give them a call at 256-5014. Good luck, owners.
The mission of Paralyzed Veterans of America is clear. Accessibility. Veterans who have served and sacrificed the best of themselves deserve access to the best our country has to offer. Access to meaningful employment. Access to the veterans' benefits they've earned. Accessible homes and vehicles. And access to every part of their communities. The PVA staff working inside VA hospitals. No other no problem. All of that time. Ongoing support for paralyzed veterans and their families. PVA is proud to serve veterans across all branches, all generations, and all conflicts. Our nation's heroes fought for your independence. Join PVA in fighting for theirs at pva.org.
Times of transition, whether from a sad event or a joyful one, can leave us feeling adrift. Social connections become even more important.
Okay, no problem.
Harmful to your health. It can lead to high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain connections to people whose relationships bring meaning to your life. Try a new hobby, volunteer, exercise, or use your phone or other device to stay in touch. These can be great ways to keep up your social connections and your physical and mental well-being. Visit connecttoeffect.org to see if you're at risk of social isolation and find ways to stay connected. This message is brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
back to the Woodward Football Pre-Game Show at Z92. Let's take a look at this week's past coaches show where we had guest athletic director David Moon, senior offensive lineman Leighton Phillips, and Jake Lewis, along with head coach Rick Richard, as we got a bit on the game last week against Spartan and the matchup tonight with Newcastle. Firstly, let's hear from the Woodward athletic director David Moon and talk about his journey a little bit of getting to you and what he's seen so far within the Boomer athletic department.
Just mentioned, of course, the extensive history you've had of being around different programs, seeing those at a high level and operate, at a high level as well. To start off your senior year, and as we're talking about off here, you've been, your hand is involved in a lot of things in terms of keeping up with various fall sports going on and getting up, of course, so once we have the winter and the spring. What have you taken from those previous stops, and at least early on here, feel like you're trying to, apply to Woodward, seeing that high level success and helping these programs who, a lot of them very, very stout in terms of what they do already. We're trying to enhance their stuff.
Well, you gotta put good people. You gotta have good people. You gotta have good coaches that are dedicated, and it's a long. Every season is a long season, and it's a tiresome season, and you really have to love it. Throughout. They're going to get on to them wherever they need to. They're going to coach them up. They're going to do what is necessary and right for that kid, that boy or girl that is going to help them and about coaches I have, and then the kids that I have coached that come back and say, man, I'm happy that you were my coach and I learned so much from you. I even did it from the coaches that I had. Will Bassett was here, Jimmy Petz was here. They were a big influence on me. And I tell people all the time, I went to Jim Petz's teaming camp here. That's where I learned my fundamentals. I went to the weight room and Milt Bassett was the coach. And those are two Hall of Fame coaches. And that's where it starts, and you got to embrace those little guys in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And today I went out.
Back, that's 6'4". I mean, he's a load, and hand him the ball every now and then, and they'll get him, the ball out in space, and he's a brute. He's hard to bring down, but their quarterback likes to keep the ball and run the football a little bit on their zone read type stuff that they do. But they did have a little bit more of a passing game. They definitely got a lot more of a challenge last week than they had the week before with Cleveland, and they beat a good Plainview team that kind of made a few mistakes on their own and allowed that to get away from them a little bit. But Newcastle really finished up strong last year, and they got most of those kids back, and they still have a really good sophomore class this year. So they're going to be a tough out for anybody, and it's going to be another huge test for us, to be able to go out there and compete with them on Friday night.
Well, and then defensively, you already mentioned their size is big because some of those kids, of course, going both ways a bit. Their front seven, very solid in terms of that size up front. Overall, showing some good discipline as well, in all facets, whether it's up front or on the back end. So where do you feel like is kind of the spot to attack this team? Is it just more doing what you guys do best, or is there a certain thing that you're really looking to capitalize on?
Well, the upside of it, it's the same defense we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
So, our kids are getting a little better at understanding that and, knowing our blocking schemes and being able to execute them. The biggest issue, we just had some kids go down the last couple of weeks, so we've plugged in new guys. We plugged in Dustin Dunlap last week. He did a great job for us playing right tackle when LJ was out. And then we've moved him into guard this week just in case, Peyton Carter's not ready to go yet because he got dinged up a little bit. Yeah. But, Dustin's done a great job, and he's been able to fill in. But, we feel like maybe we might be able to handle him up front and be able to run the football on him. But, again, it's the same defense we've seen basically for our third week in a row now. So we ought to be, more efficient being able to go out there and execute our offense against them.
And finally, Coach, what's the one big thing you want to see from your team in this road test right before district play begins here?
Well, still physicality. I think physicality is going to win us a lot of games in our district, and it probably wasn't quite as strong the other night as it was against Guthrie, even though it didn't appear in Guthrie that we were being physical, but that's a lot of Guthrie. I felt like we let up a little bit last week on that side of the ball. I don't know if we went in a little bit thinking, well, we beat them last year and it's the same guys, but they were better. And I thought they were a much better football team this year than they were last year.
Laser sharp focus. They wanted
that revenge. And we knew that was coming. Yeah. And then, so I think the big thing is just to continue that physicality. And if we're not physical with these guys, they're going to beat us 30, 40 points too, So we've got to figure that out at some point and then be ready to take it into next week when we go into our district play.
Yeah, and one last question too.
And with that, we'll step aside for another break and come back and break down this match between Woodward and Newcastle even further. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, Pipe Lanes Tire.
For more than 20 years, Northwest Glass has served Northwest Oklahoma with all their glass and door needs, including vehicle and equipment, windshield replacements and chip repairs, rekeying locks, and window and door repairs and installations. Call 256-4324 or stop by 611 Texas Avenue for all your glass and door needs. Good luck, Boomers.
Times of transition, whether from a sad event or a joyful one, can leave us feeling adrift. Social connections are an important part of a healthy life. Being isolated and lonely can be harmful to your health. It can lead to high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain connections to people, not just in your family, but others whose relationships bring meaning to your life. Trying a new hobby, volunteering, exercising, even using your phone or other device to stay in touch with others. All these can be great ways to keep up your social connections and your physical and mental well-being. Visit connecttoeffect.org to see if you're at risk of social isolation and find ways to get connected. This message is brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers. Learn more at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments we will have our national anthem.
half yard. We just saw him punch it in with Sam Cheap on that very tight formation. Do you go back to that?
You know, you put the big guys in there and you let the Boomers take care of the rest.
Here's the option I know you'll like, Dakota. You hand it off to Ethan Matt.
Oh, I'd love to see that. You'd love to see Moose, break loose for 60 yards for a touchdown. That would be perfect.
Oh, no.
But,
hey,
I'm not saying
Ethan Matt is a bad athlete, but he's not busting for 60
yards. No.
I'm just telling you.
But the first down I'd be satisfied with that.
Yeah, for sure. So
looks like they're going to go for it, though.
We'll see how they break out of this formation. I do see Cass Shipley out there, who is the punter, but
I see Sam Cheap too. So
and there you go. So they're going to break the huddle, and they're going to go for it. It looks like here, 4th and about a half yard. Cheap's going to be under center. Ace behind him in the backfield. Receiver on each side. Man in motion goes across the formation. Snap, handoff inside Ace. He's going to plunge forward. He maybe got there. It's going to be very close. And they're going to look at it.
I think you got it.
They're saying move it.
And there you go, a first down. So a first down by the Boomers. A big moment there. How do you like that, fellas? Just showing the muscle again in the short yardage.
I will say, down here from this angle, you could tell that Ace was obviously looking to go straight up the middle, pound it, see what it can get. But he actually, if he would have cut it just a little bit to the outside, he had a lot more green to work with.
Right. Well, it's just, hey, you're a freshman. Coach tells you go get a yard, you go get a yard.
Exactly, yeah.
So 1st and 10 for the Boomers at the 41. I'll say the 40, actually. And we got a whistle here and a flag. Looks like, unfortunately, going to be a delay of game. Yeah. Clock struck 0 there on the play clock with 3:20 to go. So Outback Woodward up 5.
Called a delay of the game on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
I believe Providence gives us the signal. He's somewhat got the audio worked out on Boomer TV over there on boomertv.net. He's been busting his butt trying to get this, so we appreciate him very much and his crew for coming down and trying to get this working. So I think we got solved for next time out, but unfortunately here had to make do with what we got this time out. 1st and 15 for the Boomers. Cheap under center. Handoff now going to be too long again. Cuts it upfield off a little bit of a delayed step, if you will, and gets up to the 40. So gets back that penalty yards and sets up a 2nd and 10.
5-yard gain back to the original line of scrimmage.
Looks like Ace Long is going to make a trip out.
Maybe catch a breather after a couple tough runs.
Looks like Hayden Hillier is going to be the one to replace him.
So Hillier going to be in the backfield. 2:54 and countdown to go here in the first half. Boomers trail 7-6 to Newcastle, but trying to drive. Got the ball at their own 40. 2nd and 10. As you mentioned, Hillier going to be in the backfield, it looks like. Cheap going to be gun. 3 receivers to the near, 1 to the far. The far is Laird. Cheap going to take the snap. Drop back. He's going to roll out to that far side. Now he's going to have to tuck it a little bit. Under pressure, scoots up and gets just a couple. Slides down. Good move, though, by Sam to avoid the pressure, avoid a sack, and turn it into a couple positive yards there. 3rd and 8 upcoming.
Yeah, that was definitely all coverage by Newcastle there, taking away Laird where Cheap wanted to go, and so great job by Cheap to just recognize it, tuck it under, and pick up what he could.
Looks like you might have to go in the air here, Tyler.
Yeah, 3rd and 7, but as Eric mentioned, you got to watch that coverage by Bethany. We talked in the pregame. They're solid on all levels. They're really disciplined. They don't give you a lot of free room. Shotgun here for the Boomers. Cheap in the gun. Going to drive back to pass. Looking. Going to fire over the middle, and that one's picked off. Picked off by a racer, and that's going to be tackled right at the 50-yard line. And that's Trey Burkett on the pick. The junior just kind of read that one. It looked like there was maybe a miscommunication on the route. Couldn't quite tell. Chief was trying to find a man over the middle, and it just went to Burkett.
Looks like Taylor Laird was there on the tackle to wrap it up.
Yeah, that was really close to pass interference, but I think it's probably a good no call, recognizing the fact that's probably not a catchable ball.
Point there, Eric. So 1st and 10. They're going to say from the 49 for Newcastle here. Minute 46 to go in the half. Call that technically the Boomer 49. Waiting on the play to be able to get going. Play clock's running down, so Newcastle looking at the sideline. They may be taking a timeout here, and they will. So a timeout taken by Newcastle. Minute 46 to go in the half. We're showing no timeouts left between either team. So Newcastle, essentially a 2-minute drive here, fellas, but going to be working with, a bit of a short field. We've seen the Boomer defense stand pretty strong, though, so far, although some of those routes on the back end by Newcastle have been open. So how do you kind of fix that a little bit?
That's a good question, Tyler. You know, I don't have an answer for that one. It's just it's too close of a game. You know, it's just back and forth.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where it made, the momentum kind of made another switch just then. It's kind of been back and forth, but here with a minute 46, if you can get a stop right here, get a little bit, get at least 3 points going.
They're trying to say at least plug them up to a 3-point gain. Not allow that touchdown. So you got to watch the deep shot here by Newcastle because it's that sudden change, if you will. Bird's back in the gun by himself. Got receiver spread out. He's dropping back to pass. He's looking. He's going to take a shot. Got a man. That's overthrown. Almost intercepted by Taylor Laird. It went through the hands right there of Jackson Channel and right almost to Taylor Laird. It was too quick for him to be able to come up with that one. That was a laser.
He drops to the ground and knows that he could have had that, but just goes straight through his hands.
I mean, even for a tip drill, that's a tough one because that was a
bullet
by Jackson Bird. So 2nd and 10 now. Still at the 49. Bird going to be in the gun by himself again. He's going to roll out here to the near side, looking to pass. Oh, he's under pressure. It's Hunter Harrison. Got him wrapped up and sacked for a big loss.
Huge loss.
Boy, he is tackled all the way back. Where are they going to mark this one? At the Newcastle
loss
35.
Of 15.
Loss of 16 on the play.
Hunter Harrison coming through the line right there, really untouched.
Yeah, I'm about to say, Eric, it looked like he just came, nobody blocked him. I mean, they just lost him. Wow, Hunter, a big sack there. And
that's huge. That is huge for the Boomers.
Makes it a 3rd and 25 all of a sudden. Bird back to pass, quick throw out here to Bolster, and a quick tackle over there on the wrap-up is going to be
Josiah Beza.
Yeah, you beat me to Josiah Beza, the sophomore, again, making big plays. And we got a timeout. Looks like by Woodward. So they did have an extra timeout. Showing zeros up there on the
And Tyler, you talk about this team with a minute 46 seconds, just about a minute ago, they think they're going to score, but Hunter Harrison just comes right up, stops them in their tracks, and now we have 54 seconds left.
We talked about that defense standing tall. Eric was saying, hey, if you could just, not allow more than 3 points, that's great. But, Eric, I mean, you can't beat this. You're going to force a punt by Newcastle, and they're going to be punting essentially where you might have some good field position on our bet to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the type of situation where you bring the house, too. With where they're at, bring the house. You got a little bit of momentum. Get great field position with we got 54 seconds left. See what you can do.
Anyways, going to be 4th down here. Talking with Profits, not quite sure what to say. He's working his butt off though tonight, so I appreciate that, man. Guys rolling over there.
I think he said you owe him $40.
Okay. We'll see about that one. Back to punt here is Newcastle. I want a high one in the air, returnable by Laird, but he fair caught it smartly, and it's going to be at the 30 there is where the Boomers will take over their own 30. 43 seconds to go in the half. You don't have any timeouts, fellas. I mean, Eric, do you just try to take a measured shot or two here, or do you just, how do you try to manage this risk, if you will?
I think you just got to try to hit Laird with some out routes right up the sideline. Just kind of chip away at it.
Good point there. Keep it to the sideline. Try to get out of bounds quick. Move up the field.
I say just take it down the field. Try to get Laird the ball. As he said, I'm gonna have to run a couple different routes, but Laird's your target if you want a touchdown right here, or enough to get in field goal range if you have enough time.
So 1st and 10 for the Boomers. Cheap going to be the gun. Got trips to the far, one to the near. Man in the backfield with him. Cheap going to roll out to that far side. Dodges a tackle, throws it away. It looks like kind of smartly there as he was under pressure quick. The Boomers, on some of these rollouts, it looks like Newcastle able to kind of find a way to get a man free on that rollout. So it's made for some pressure. Cheap, though, has done a phenomenal job to dodge it, Dakota. We've seen a couple times now him elude pressure and even complete some great passes.
Just when you think he's about to get sacked, he somehow gets out of it.
That sidestep, that pocket awareness, which is what you want to see from your senior.
There's also a good job by Cheap to recognize the fact that the longer he's up running around and trying to make things happen, the more times running off.
Yes.
And I think he recognized that and just threw the ball out of bounds as quick as he could.
Good point, Eric. 34 seconds on the clock, so that took off 9 there. 2nd and 10 from the 30. Boomers in the gun. Cheap 3 to the far, 1 to the near. Cheap back to pass. Looking. Steps up. Still looking. He's got clean pockets. Got a man. It's Taylor Laird near the sidelines. Going to bounce off tackle across the 50. down inside to
Gotta hurry up.
Newcastle territory at about the 46. And you're right, got to hurry it up now here, maybe 47. So Laird going to get the first down. That's going to be about a 23-yard gain there.
Laird came off his route when he recognized Cheap was a little bit of trouble, and he actually created that opening.
23 seconds a ticket. 20 seconds. Cheap in the gun. 3 to there, 1 to the far. Back in the gun. Oh, false start here by the Boomers. Flag in the air. They're going to let it play, though. Cheap going to take a sack there back at about the Newcastle. Well, for no gain, essentially. They didn't call the whistle, Eric, despite the flag, or despite the false starts. See how they call this one.
Yeah, did they throw a flag? I don't think
it should have been blown dead if it was on the Boomers.
There's a flag on Newcastle's side right on the line where the players are standing.
Okay, so maybe it's on Newcastle then. I thought the Boomers jumped first.
Yeah, I think the Boomers would have actually caused the movement, but if they didn't see it.
But they should have blown it dead if it was false start on the Boomers.
Well, now it looks like he's maybe trying to say illegal shift.
Might be it. Yeah, yep, that's what it is.
Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30.
Penalty was declined, so now 9 seconds. You're essentially going to have time here for one heave. It's going to be a replay of the down, it looks like.
It's going to have to be Shipley or Laird if you want some height for that catch.
No.
Oh. Catching and losing, right?
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully Cheap kind of recognizes the opposite side because they got a safety kind of cheating over here towards Laird.
Looks like Cheap going to be under center. He might just hand this one off. We'll see. 9 seconds to go. Boomers backed up now to Newcastle territory at the 48. And waiting for the signal, the whistle to be able to get play going.
I think they're going to put 15 seconds on the clock. I think that's what I just saw.
So discussing the clock, if you will, as Eric mentioned, trying to figure that out. Because, yeah, so the illegal shift, as we talked about, the play shouldn't have gone on since it was on the Boomers. So they're trying to work that out here. But, boy, a competitive first half. What we wanted to see, Dakota and Eric, just, the Boomers fighting. And really, they were very much in this one here.
It's a good game. Very competitive.
And Woodward matching that physicality. And, Eric, looks like you're right. 15 seconds on the clock is what they'll put. So 6 seconds back on is what they'll take. Waiting for that change, and there we go.
Maybe.
Maybe. So Cheap going to be under center now. 1st and 15. Long in the backfield. Got receiver split, and Cheap going to spike it. So, okay, that's what they went under center for. Makes sense. We burned 3 seconds off the clock there, down to 12. That's going to be a 2nd and 15. So, again, Coach Lucien, as we've seen early in this game, decided to play aggressive. Went for it on 4th down twice, successful. Now he's saying, hey, we don't have timeouts, but we've got, essentially a manageable situation here where guys, you take a shot, not necessarily to the end zone, but kind of underneath, get out of bounds, and you have really one good shot to the end zone.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to try to get the ball to about the 25 or 30.
Maybe a field goal, yeah.
See if Ace can kick the field goal.
Wind is going to be against them, though. Not much, though. And the gun is going to be Cheap. Split receivers each side. Cheap back to pass. Looking. He's got to scramble. Still looking. Got a flag. This might be a hold. Cheap going to scramble and go out of bounds near about that 47 in Newcastle territory. 5 seconds on the clock. And it is going to be a hold on Woodward. So not quite what you wanted to see. Cheap, though, again, avoiding that pressure, able to escape and get out of bounds. I imagine here now with the penalty, it's going to back him up even more. Probably going to take this one into halftime at a reasonable 7-6. We're marking all the way back now to, looks like the 34, maybe 33, kind of in between there. So deep in Boomer territory, only 5 seconds on the clock. We'll see how they manage this one.
You probably see just an easy handoff to Ace up the middle.
Maybe even a kneel down. Play clock, play clock run. Cheap going to be in the gun, split receivers each side. Ace with him in the backfield. Oh, and Bethany jumps. Bethany, clear offside there. False start, offside's there.
Hey, let's just keep doing that all the way down the field.
Yeah, just hard count them all the way down. Did I say Bethany again? Good grief. I can't get Bethany out of my mind, man.
Like, honestly, we're joking about it, but why not keep trying to hard count like that? Because they are biting. They've been biting all night, so why not?
They've been twice, yeah.
Why not keep trying to do it?
And I'm sorry to Boomer fans. They keep hearing me say Bethany and going, man, don't make us relive that. What are you doing?
This is our 4th straight team with blue in their colors, by the way.
I know. That's what's getting me, man. I'm telling you. It's the 2nd and long here. cheap in the gun. Back to pass. They are going to throw a quick pass. It's going to be to Shipley near the sideline. Going to try to get out of bounds. Does, but that's going to be the end of the half. Shipley with a bit of a gain there, probably about 10 yards. But that will do it for the half, and we've got a ball game, folks.
It's a good one.
Going into the break, Newcastle leads over your Boomers 7-6. We'll step aside, come back with the halftime show. It's Boomer Football on Z92. Eric, I brought a bunch of AA batteries in my box up here if you need them.
Okay. Hey, actually, why don't I walk that way?
Yeah.
Is Providence up there close?
He's trapped up here with us, man. We're packed in.
Okay, I was gonna say if he can meet me at the railing or something.
I got you. Trying to get Eric some batteries.
What?
Eric, some batteries.
Please welcome to the field these adorable dancers, the future of Newcastle Palm, as they perform.
And welcome back here to Newcastle. Coach Wagner, Eric Scott, and Tyler Riggs with you. We are at the break, 7-6 on this one. And Newcastle leading by 1, but both teams with a touchdown. Looking at the first half recap here. In total for Newcastle on their drives, they wound up, it looked like they were with 5 drives, scored on 1 as their second possession of the ball game. In that first quarter, they went 67 yards, about 3:23 of time off the clock on 10 plays and punched it in. Well, I say punched it in, it was a good run. 28-yard run there by Carson Bolster to get that one in. Woodward, though, would answer a few drives later and get a 9-play, 4-minute drive for 48 Bill. So a great night. All those proceeds going to go to the Samarco family, Thousand Hills, to be able to host it, and so they reached out and found a way to do that. So good stuff for sure. Then at 5 o'clock over at the Corner Lounge tomorrow, there will be a 50-50 raffle. There will be a potluck, which is about a $5 minimum. Talked with Coach Luchin, of course, Wednesday on the Coach Show. He was sharing pictures with me after the show that Dakota is standing up out of his chair right now in terms of that's where he's at his rehabilitation. And he's set to hopefully be released from rehab on Tuesday of this next week.
I saw a video on Facebook yesterday where he got to walk. He was starting to walk and up and down. So
amazing, amazing stuff. Great spirit from Dakota Samarco, and just the ability he's shown to fight. This team, of course, really has taken to that and trying to apply that as well. So got about 16 minutes or so here in the half. So let's step aside for a break, and on the other half we'll come back and kind of take a look at some scores going around the area and in the district. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Newcastle. Dakota Wagner, Eric Scott, Tyler Riggs with you as we are at halftime. Woodward trails 7-6 right now to the Racers. And took a little bit of a first half recap there before the break. Now let's take a look around kind of what's going on in the district. Got a lot of bye weeks out there this week, but do have some district teams in action. Elgin right now is leading Weatherford 21-10 in the second quarter. Heritage Hall is shutting out John Marshall 22-0 at half at the moment. Carl Albert, this one, a bit of a surprise after Elk City got a big win against Canadian Texas last week in overtime. Carl Albert leads Elk City 31-2 at the break there. And that's some of those 4A scores. Also got some interesting scores going across 8-man right now. If you're, of course, we've got Friday Night Court scores over on K101 going on with CJ Montgomery, Dr. Carl Newton, Sean Kelly as well. They're all taking around the tri-state with these scores and storylines, so check that out. One that interests me, so guys, Sealing knocked off Laverne last week in Laverne in a tight one. Well, Oklahoma Bible Academy, who was independent last year and now placed into Class B after they went from Class A to 8-man, they are up on Sealing 34-20 right now in the second quarter. OBA ranked number 5 by some publications, and right now kind of taking it to Sealing, if you will, down there in Sealing. And maybe, I don't know, a bit of hangover after beating number 1, because they did get that big win over number 1 Laverne last week. A couple other ones as well in our area. Let's see here. one that I kind of found interesting, Hollis and Mountain View Godebo. Mountain View Godebo, of course, been a power over there from the east last couple of seasons in Class B. Hollis, again, another one of those teams that was independent, now moved into 8-man Class B. Hollis is leading Godebo 18-6 right now in the second quarter over there. So that's another team in Hollis that got added to District 1 in Class B. That was a tough district for sure. But Eric, were there any games, or Dakota even, were there any games you guys kind of had your eyes on? Doesn't necessarily have to be on our area tonight, or you guys kind of, more focused solely on the Boomer side of things here?
Me personally, just kind of focused on Woodward right now.
Yeah.
Forgot to bring my phone up here with me, so.
Of course.
Well, I obviously, with the connections to Winoka from a few years ago, and saw that they were leading Ringwood right now. It's interesting. I thought that was going to be a little bit more of a game. Right now, I believe they're up 12, 2 touchdowns maybe.
Here, I got you. I'm pulling up. Yep, 30-18.
That's
so
what I
not quite 2 touchdowns, but 12, as you mentioned. So Winoka and Eric, I think a team that in a Class C that I believe might be a little bit up for grabs. The Railroaders have looked pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still Timberlake. Timberlake's going to play strong. But hey, the Railroaders have been playing well this year. They got a lot going on. I think Timberlake, Winoka, and Tyrone are all kind of right there together again this year.
Yeah, they are. The Tyrone's kind of got off to a slow start, but it looks like
they're still good.
They've played up class-wise.
Yeah, they lost Hernandez, but they're still good.
Oh man, could you imagine if we could just clone Roberto Hernandez?
Roberto Hernandez was a beast.
Oh man, There's one kind of the big, I guess you say, marquee matchup for a lot of people in the state tonight. Was Guthrie and Tuttle. That's a never seen before matchup here in the high school ranks, and that one. Of course, Tuttle's been a powerhouse in 4A for quite a minute. They actually lead Guthrie 14-3 in the second quarter. Guthrie, a top 5 team there in Class A, so that's another one there. As I mentioned, you go over to Friday Night Quick Scores and check out all those scores from across the tri-state. With C.J. Montgomery and Dr. Carl Newton is in town tonight to help out as well. So with that, still got about 10 minutes or so here left in the halftime break. So let's step aside for another break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about keys to the second half, maybe look at some college football as well, and kind of let you know what's ahead on that across our stations. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. Welcome back here to Boomer Football on Z92. Dakota Wagner, Eric Scott, Tyler Riggs with you at the break, right now Newcastle up on your Boomers 7-6. Been a very fun first half, back and forth action. Eric, I got good news. Battery's on the way. Kurt Province is making his way over to the other side right now.
All right. Well, at least we all back up. Now I got to figure out where he's at.
Yeah, he should be coming around. But no, again, shout out Kurt Province and Boomer TV. Go find that on boomertv.net on the stream right now. They've made the trip with us. Kurt was busting his tail to try to get the audio right as we were having some issues there, and he did. Fantastic. And of course, Christopher Godwin as well. Back home, Chris Godwin. Part of that as well. Cannot do it without them. They've been great with us, and we appreciate them as much as they put into it, for sure. Now let's talk a little bit, guys, about some of the keys here to the second half. You know, we mentioned in the first half, Coach Luchin wanted to see Woodward be physical. We talked about needing to get off to a faster start within the game. I would say both of those boxes accomplished, or checked, I should say. What do you guys feel like you need to see here in the second half for Woodward to be able to take a road win?
You know, that's a good question, Tyler. I wouldn't really necessarily change anything that you guys are doing. You know, Coach Legion has really just kind of had a really good game plan going into this one. Give Ace Long the ball. You know, he's been running it, Tyler, and, you know, he's had some really good flashes. And you've seen Taylon Laird get a reception or two for a little bit, a couple yards. So just keep doing what you're doing and just carry that momentum. Just keep it going. You know, the defense played really well.
And Eric, Providence is on the other side. He's walking at the other end of the field.
On the other end. Oh, I see him down there.
That's our luck. That's our luck. But while you're walking there, Eric, what do you want to see from the Boomers here in the second half to be able to come away with this win, do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Dakota. You know, you just got to kind of keep doing what we're doing. Defensively, we are being physical. You know, that's something that you said Coach Legion was talking about. And, you know, we're doing a great job there. On the offensive side, though, you know, I would like to see us kind of clean up a little bit. We're not having issues. We don't have penalties, anything like that. But just kind of clean up some of those opportunities whenever we have them opportunities instead of kind of stalling out.
Yeah, and, you know, we saw a couple successful drives, one into that touchdown. But to your point, Eric, there were a couple of those drives in the first half that we think probably could have got a little bit more out of. As you mentioned, you clean up some of those mistakes. We saw a drop pass or two on some open routes. So you do that, it very well could be the difference, because this, you know, there might only be a couple more scores left in this game, if you will.
And to add to that, this game would be tied except for a blocked field goal.
Yeah, blocked extra point there by Newcastle. Got just a fingertip on it. And guys, now we took a look at that second half. Do you want to mention what's upcoming here tomorrow for us on both Z92 and K101 as far as the college football ranks go? On Z92 here, 6 o'clock tomorrow, I should say. Maybe double check that, but 6 o'clock tomorrow night, a Oklahoma State team, number 8, hosting a Arkansas Pine Bluff team that's FCS, but they are 2-0, and another home game for the Cowboys. Try to kind of keep their momentum going. They've kind of been a little up and down the first couple weeks. First week it was defense, kind of the bugaboo. Second week, defense was better against Arizona State, but then the offense slowed down a little bit. So another tune-up, if you will, to get right as we get towards conference play here in the next few weeks. That one you could catch on, as I mentioned, Z92, your pregame coverage starting at 4 p.m. with Dave Hunziker and crew on the Sooner side of things. Over on K101, Oklahoma against Nebraska. That rivalry game back. And kind of an odd one. Nebraska, of course, Scott Frost got let go last week after their loss to Georgia Southern. And so they come in with interim head coach. But Oklahoma, an 11-point favorite in this one. Kind of a lot of people maybe circling that as a trap game. So we'll have to see how that goes. We'll have that radio broadcast coverage on K101 with Toby Rowland crew. They begin their pregame right early at 9 o'clock up there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Eric, let's talk a little bit about your Northwestern Oklahoma State Rangers, man. They're hosting Oklahoma Baptist, both teams searching for their first win in GAC play. What do you think about the Rangers' chances to be able to kind of take one tomorrow?
You know, I think tomorrow's their one of their better opportunities of the year. You know, they are still a building team. It's a tough, I want to say district, kicking into high school ball. It's a tough conference.
3 teams, 2 ranked, in the top 25 and 1 receiving votes.
Yeah, exactly. It is a really tough conference, you know, and You got OBU coming up, and OBU's hungry too. They have kind of taken a step back the past couple years. I'd like to see the Rangers be able to do something tomorrow.
And like I said, a good chance that's going to be at Ranger Field there at 6 o'clock, that kickoff over in GAC play. And then Southwestern, Oklahoma State, they're fresh off their first win of the season. They will host Southeastern over in Weatherford. So that one, a 6 o'clock kickoff as well. Get you set there for all the college action as we got teams getting ready to come back on the field here. Do want to mention, of course, one other one other matchup, if you will, there within the Big 12, and one that I kind of talked about on the coaching show a little bit, Dakota and Eric. Kansas 2-0 going to Houston. Wow. As, maybe upset alert for Houston. They just lost to Texas Tech last week, got a taste of Big 12 play, if you will, for the future. And now the Jayhawks, a hungry young Jayhawk squad with Lance Leipold, maybe 3-0 by the time they get to conference play.
I'll say this. I was listening one day to another radio station, and they were sports. They were talking sports, and they were talking about Kansas. And I remember, last year, especially against the way they played in the first half against OU. They didn't play terrible against OSU. Right. You knew that this is a program that it seems to be trying to take a little bit of a step forward. So I was excited to see how this year's going, and that could easily be a upset tomorrow with Houston losing to Kansas.
Well, that'd be something right now. Houston, for all you out there, about a 9-point favorite, we'll call it. About 8.5 is what they got at. So it's doable for Kansas. It is definitely doable. Speaking of a team on the up and up, Texas Tech. They did knock off Houston last week. They've got NC State on the road, North Carolina State there. And, I'll repeat this for those of you who may not have heard it a couple times. I said, Joey McGuire, who took over for this Texas Tech team, been assistant over there at Baylor, and a guy that's well known in the West Texas high school ranks and in Texas in general. And we talked to some of those West Texas teams we cover out here in the tri-state, and he's been around making the rounds there, and by all accounts, a quality guy and gets culture. When you listen to his Big 12 media days, he gets it as far as that goes. I don't know how competitive they'll be in the Big 12, but that's not going to be an easy win for anybody on the schedule, I would say. Oh, man. So, got just a couple minutes left here as both teams have come back out onto the field now, going through their warm-ups. And we'll step aside for one final break here in the halftime show presented by Dairy Queen. And on the other side, we will have the second half kickoff for you. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Boomer Football from Newcastle, live on Z92 and Boomer TV as well. Dakota Wagner, Eric Scott, Tyler Riggs with you as we are closing down the final seconds of the halftime. Halftime, as I mentioned, presented by Dairy Queen. Do want to shout out our other sponsors real quick here before we get back to action. Our big boom sponsors, that'd be High Plains Tire, a gold sponsor with us. Cannot do without them. They're also a sponsor of the Boomer Coaches Show. Top Cat formal wear and accessories. Go visit the cons out there on Main Street and get suited up for any special occasion that you may need. Dairy Queen, as I mentioned, our halftime sponsor. Caleb Roach Insurance, big supporter of the community there. Great Plains National Bank, been around forever. And again, great, phenomenal supporter of the Woodward community. Dr. Crisley Mosley, First Republican Title Company, also Triple Clean Car Wash, Divine's Radio Shack, and KOC Taco Bell. That is a list of people and companies that just do a lot for us here, not only in Z92 but in the area, so cannot thank them enough for their continued partnership with us. And 12 minutes are back on the clock as Woodward should receive to begin this one as they kicked off in the first half after we had some confusion over the coin toss there. Eric, you missed. They got announced as essentially we had won the kick, or won the toss, chose to kick and deferred. Then they announced it as Newcastle won and kicked, and then got reconvened and got back together and then flipped it around. So
I thought that only happened in the NFL where there was confusion.
Yeah, no, apparently not. But see, I was wrong. See, I had it backwards. So now Woodward will kick and Newcastle will start.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Assistant Athletic Director, Baseball Coach David Dunlap down here playing. Helping Chief warm up a little bit right after as they came out of the locker room. That guy will be all over the place doing anything he needs to do.
Yeah, we mentioned David Norton coming in, but Coach Dunlap there also coming in due to the staff this year as Assistant Athletic Director and baseball coach. And phenomenal gentleman as well. So good to have him on board, as you mentioned, and seeing his contributions early on here. But it will be Chief to kick this one off. Or excuse me, Chief, Long, geez. Okay, it's Long to kick this one off. Bit of a short kick here, wind against him. And that one going to be fielded by Newcastle. Looks like Randy Nix going to catch that one. And he'll call the fair catch about the 32, so that's where Newcastle will begin at their own 32. And let's see here. It's going to be Jackson Burt, the junior, coming out there. Carson Bolster as well going to be in the backfield with him. Have a couple of receivers to the far side, one to the near. Burt going to be in the gun. He's back up there, kind of flanking him in the front. Burt will take the snap, fake the handoff, taking himself up the gut. He's got a little bit of room, and he gets taken down there as he gets across the 35 to about the 37. So a gain of about, we'll call it 5 there.
Josiah Beza there on the tackle.
That'll bring up a 2nd and 5, just underway here in the second half. Burt going to be back out there in the gun. This time TJ Bradford going to be with him in the backfield. The young freshman's had some big plays here early on. Burt going to be more so in the pistol. He'll take snap. He'll pitch it back out to Bradford. Bradford's got a hole here on the near side. Makes a man miss. He's across the 40. He might be gone to foot race 30, 20. And Bradford into the end zone for a touchdown. And Newcastle strikes quick. 2 plays in here to begin the second half. And the young man, TJ Bradford, the freshman, making all sorts of plays. Made a couple guys miss and took it to the house.
Kaysen Boring, trailing him, but just couldn't find enough to track him down for the tackle.
So that one's going to be a 64-yard sprint by TJ Bradford. It'll be 13-6 now. Newcastle on top. Extra point up there. And that one's going to slap off the Racer field house, if you will, and good. So 14-6, and that drive just taking 54 seconds, 2 plays by the Racers there for 69 yards, and the touchdown. Newcastle now leads 14-6 here, 11:06 to go in the third. We'll step aside for a quick break. Listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And back here on Z92, Dakota Wagner, Airside, Tyler Riggs with you. Newcastle strikes first in the second half. TJ Bradford, a long touchdown run, just 2 plays in. Newcastle now leads 14-6, and Woodward will get the ball. This will be Ballchilder kicking this one off. Taylor Laird and Carson Medina back deep to receive, each standing about the 10-yard line on the hashes. Laird to the near side of us, and then Medina over on the far side. Kick is up. And that one a good end over ender, going to go over Laird's head into the end zone for a touchback. So the Boomers going to start at their own 20. And guys probably now going to try to respond after that big play there from Newcastle.
Yeah, you just got to, you know, as the offense comes back out on the field, I know a lot of these guys, you know, play two-way, but, you know, the offense just got to do the best job to continue to pound away. You're only still down, you know, 1 score. You know, so don't get too worried about it. Just come chip away. You got a lot of clock in front of you.
Basically, don't let that momentum shift, you know, kind of overcome you a bit. It's going to be Cheap in the gun, Long with him. 3 to there, 1 to the far. The far is Laird. And across the front of the formation is Bourne in motion. Cheap takes snap. He'll hand off inside to Long, and boy, he runs into a host there of Newcastle racers. It looks like first in on the first contact is Shane Lovejoy, and then the big man from the defensive line there of Chad Kraft finishing that one off. Ace going to lose the yard there and back it up to a 2nd and 11. 10:45 now to go here in the third. They're trying to find something on their first drive of the second half. Cheap going to be in the gun again. Got 2 receivers to the near, 2 to the far. Long with them in the backfield. Man in motion across the formation. Looks like maybe Corral or Beza. Going to fake the handoff. Cheap back to pass. Got a quick screen. Got a man underneath. And moving forward across the 25 or up to the 25 there. We've got, I believe that might have been Zane Weibel. Yep, Zane Weibel, the junior. Able to come up with the catch. He was the one in motion. Gained about 5 yards there. 6 yards, excuse me. So a 3rd and 5 upcoming here for the Boomers.
I love the play call, especially after the aggressiveness of Newcastle on that first play, you know, getting Ace behind the line a couple yards. You know, this has allowed them to kind of open it up a little bit.
Yeah, to your point, make it a not necessarily a 3rd short, but a 3rd manageable, and like you said, reopen that playbook here. Cheap in the gun, 3 to the far side, 1 to there. Ace with him in the backfield. Snap low. Sam collects though, rolling to that far side. He's going to fire a pass. Got a man tailing, but he can't come up with it. Tail Laird right there. Would have had the first down at about the 35, but coverage was tight on him. He couldn't quite haul it in. That'll bring up a 4th and 5. So the Boomers going to go 3 and out here on their first drive of the second half. Again, Dakota, another situation where we see the spot open. Just got to capitalize.
Has it and dropped it. Just couldn't keep on long enough.
So Cash Shipley now going to be back to punt.
And those are those missed opportunities I was talking about. Yep. You know, that we had a few of those in the first half. You've got to capitalize on those right there.
Yes, sir. Shipley going to be standing about his own 12 on this one. Back deep to return there is going to be Jackson Channel, the sophomore. Good-looking sophomore in terms of height and weight. Shipley kind of almost muffed the snap, but collected it and got it off somehow. And it's going to go bounce into Newcastle territory. It's still going to be good field position for him, but avoided disaster there as Newcastle will take over at their own 45-yard line.
Not sure how I got that off. You know, I don't think he ever had a clean grip on the ball.
It still put a decent kick into it.
It looked like he just kind of let it hit his hands and bobble around. He just let it drop to his feet.
Whatever works.
I mean, yeah, that was just a turn of events I didn't think was going to go very good for Woodward.
Yeah. He's a heck of a basketball player, so I know he's got those hand-eye coordination skills. See the man rip off, 25-point performances easily.
It's nothing.
Nothing. Burt in the gun by himself, got trips to the far, 1 to the near. He'll drop back to pass. He's looking under pressure. Now he's going to step up and run into 3 Boomers right away. Hunter Harrison, I believe, Ethan Madden, off the edge. Josiah Beza having a night.
I mean, he just got sandwiched.
Loss of 1 there and just quick pocket collapse. And that's what you want to see from that Boomer defense. We bring up a 2nd and 11 here now for Newcastle from their own 44. It'll be Burt in the gun. It'll be Carson Bolsworth in there. You got 2 to the near, 1 to the far receivers, and a tight end to the near. It's Nix. They'll hand off to Bolster. Man in the backfield quick. It's Ethan Matt trying to crowd and brings them down.
Got him for the jersey. That's the only way he could get him down.
Moose with the big play. Eric, did they even touch him on that one?
No, they didn't touch him. He was able to get through, and like you said, he was pulled down by the jersey. He's short, he's stocky, but he's strong, and he pulled him down by the jersey.
And boy, the Moose there on that one, getting it done for us. Brings up a 3rd and 13 now for Newcastle. So after the big play to start the second half, Woodward responding so far here on the second drive.
They're dialed in right now, Tyler.
Burt in the gun, flanked by Bolster. He's got 2 to the near, 1 to the far receivers. Burt going to roll out to pass. Looking, drops back, going for a man. He's going for Bolster. He's got it along the sideline, and that's going to be a first down, leaking out of the backfield off the play action. Bolster catches that one, gets up to the Boomer 40. So they flip the field there, big gain, gets the first down.
You say sneak out of the backfield, and that's exactly what he did.
Nope, lost it there for a second there.
Even though he's going full speed, the Boomers never really picked him up off that play action. He was really kind of wide open.
18-yard completion there for Burt. And now Newcastle has new downs. 1st and 10 from the Boomer 40. Third in the gun, he's going to pitch out to TJ Bradford. He's got the edge, juiced through a couple guys, got some speed, up across the 25, down to the 20. And this freshman, folks, has been real tough to stop. TJ Bradford having a night so far, well over 100 yards rushing.
He's been a problem all night for us to contain, Tyler.
Another 21 yards there. I don't think he's had a touch where he's gone for less than 10 so far. It's just been that guy they go to on the quick explosions. 1st and 10 for the Racers inside the Boomer red zone at the 19. They go with a tight formation. Burt in the backfield, Bradford with them, and 2 up backs. Snap, handoff inside to Bradford. Bradford going to cut it up. He's got a few yards across the 15 down to the 13. And he'll gain about 6 there, it looks like. And bring up, well, maybe 7. Bring up about a 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4 for Newcastle. I mean, Eric, you're down there. I mean, how do you stop that? We've seen this formation a few times. They've ran it with great effectiveness. I mean, I think you said earlier, Woodward trying to identify that ball, but Bradford's a small dude in there behind big guys. So 2nd and 4 is what they call it. So it was a gain of 6 in the gun. It's going to be Burt. Fake the handoff, tried taking himself, plunges forward for a few yards. There's initial contact there by a Boomer. It looked like the release crowd was on him, but Burt was able to keep those legs churning. Gets right near the marker to the 10.
3rd and inches.
Yeah, going to be about 3rd and inches. As you said, they got to get just past the 10.
See if the Boomers can get a defense stop right here.
3-yard run. Burt going to take the direct snap, and he's going to stumble forward for a few yards there on 3rd and inches and get the first down. Just a QB dive quickly there. Inside to the 8-yard line. Call out another 2 yards. So 1st and goal now for the Racers. 6:22 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Racers lead 14-6. Woodward trying to come up with a red zone stop. Keep this one within 1 score if they can. It's going to be Burt in the gun. It looks like by himself. 1 to the near, 2 to the far. A tight end lined up. Nope, excuse me. Bolster going to be with him in the backfield as well. Snap taken, handoff inside to Bolster. He'll plunge forward, fight forward, keeps his legs churning, and gets down to about the 3-yard line. Maybe the 2. Nope, they'll mark him at the 3. So a gain there of 5.
They're going to bring the big guys in, Tyler.
Bringing in the meat is what the coach said right there.
This is where you like to see the defense be able to buckle down and keep them out. Maybe they go. They're really it's a tough spot to kick from. So they may have to go for the 4th down even if they don't make this.
And boy, now Bird's going to be a tight end. It looks like it's going to be a direct snap to Randy Nix, the big tight end. He's going to plunge forward into the end zone for the touchdown. And Randy Nix, the senior, just kind of in a bulldozer package, if you will, takes it in from 2 yards out and gets the score. And Newcastle adds their lead, now leading 20-6 in this one. And that's a big board to try to stop right there. I don't know what more you can do when he's got about 5 blockers out in front. So on for the extra point here is Ballchild. Snap, ball is down, kick is up, and that one is good through the upright. So with that, Newcastle now leads 21-6 over your Boomers with 5:22 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. We'll step aside for a break. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Boomer Football on Z92. Dakota Wagner, Eric Scott, Tyler Riggs with you. And Newcastle has extended their lead off a 9-play, 55-yard drive, capped off by a 2-yard dive by Randy Nix, the tight end for Newcastle. That one really kind of set up by the big T.J. Bradford runs. He had an 18-yard run and a 21-yard run to get Newcastle down there into that red zone. Dakota.
He is speedy on his feet.
They're giving us some good holes in those big sets. Small guy making a couple cuts.
See if we can get a good return on this one, Tyler.
Kickoff set up here for Newcastle. Laird and Medina back to receive. This one carrying, and it's going to go over the head of Laird again as the wind is carrying right now with Newcastle. They are with the wind. There'll be another touchback, and Woodward will start at their own 20. 5:22 to go in the third.
You know, I almost sound like a broken record, but again, as you start this series, you just got to continue to do what you were doing in the first half. Don't try to switch anything up, and try to at least, curtail some of that momentum that Newcastle's been able to build.
Well, to your point, Eric, on the first drive of the half we saw from Woodward, it looked like they were kind of going back to exactly what was working on that first quarter. Or that first half, on those drives, it just missed opportunity there on third down to move the chains. You got to capitalize on those. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Boomers after on 20. Chiefs going to be under center. Base long in the backfield, 2 to the near, 1 to the far. Snap, fake the handoff. Cheap rolling out here to the near side. Got a man underneath. It was a loose crowd. They couldn't call it in. That was going to be maybe a couple yards of the gain off the play action rollout. Instead, it'll be 2nd and 10 upcoming. And Boomers trying to find that rhythm again. Eric just mentioned there, you want to make sure that momentum does not overtake you here. Newcastle, I will say, did bring a pretty good crowd. I was talking with their athletic director, Todd Goldsby, earlier in the week, and he said that it was probably going to be a pretty big crowd. It's their home opener. So Woodward is facing that adversity, if you will.
Corral comes out. Medina will come in for him.
2nd and 10 for the Boomers. Cheap in the gun. Ace long with him in the backfield. 2 receivers each side. Cheap back to pass. He's looking. He's got to roll out, avoid pressure. Now he's going to take it and run. Gets across the 25, still along the sideline. Did he get the first down? I think he did.
Yeah, that's enough for a first. They're going to move chains.
Oh, yeah. Got way up there, all the way to the
35.
36 is
36, wow.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think Newcastle thought they had knocked him out of bounds, and a few of them just kind of gave up. And Cheap never heard the whistle, so he just kept going.
Well, and I saw him peek back to the sideline too, Eric, and he's on the far side away from the sticks.
Tiptoeing it in.
And just said, hey, I'm going to look over and make sure I got this first down. So great awareness there by a senior in Dakota, as you mentioned. First down for the Boomers up to the 36.
Like to see them move the chains.
Cheap going to be in the gun, along with him. 3 to the far, 1 to the near. Man in motion across the formation. It's boring. Now handoff inside to Ace Long up the gut. He's going to plunge forward for a nice little, looks like 3, maybe 4 yards on that one. Gets up to the 39, it looks like. So you call it a gain of 3 and bring up about a 2nd and 7.
Tyler, you were talking about the crowd that Newcastle has, and yeah, they have an amazing crowd. But hey, let's give some credit where credit's due here on for the visitors.
Yeah,
too.
we did in the pregame. Yeah. We talked about the travel of the Boomers.
Yeah.
And we had Pep Club over there. We got the band, and we got plenty of Boomer faithful filling up those stands. So absolutely big shout out.
There's a lot of people over here. The band sounds great. It's a beautiful night.
Ace Long coming out. Hayden Hilliard going to come into the game.
So Hilliard in the backfield with Cheap. 3 to the far, 1 to near in the gun. Cheap going to roll out to that far side, looking to pass. Got to step up, pressure on him, and he's going to be sacked. Well, maybe got back to the line of scrimmage there, but take it down, lost about a yard. And Shane Lovejoy in on the sack for Newcastle. They're going to call it a loss of 1, be a 3rd and 8. This will be a 3rd and 8 from the 38 for the Boomers. You got to get, they say 3rd and 8, they've got to get to the 41, so be 46 is where they got to get to on this one. 3:45 to go here in the quarter. Woodward trails 21-6. Cheap in the gun, 2 receivers each side. Run back flanking, drop the back to pass. He's looking. Got to step up, avoid pressure again, and runs into a host of Newcastle racers. Just nothing doing. Kind of I'll call it maybe a coverage sack right there for Newcastle. That's going to bring up a 4th and 10 for the Boomers as Cheap will lose a couple more yards.
Yeah, the Newcastle defense really is also respecting the legs of Cheap.
Yeah.
They backers more in a spy type of defense, while the safeties are kind of in a man. Safeties and corners are in a man, and didn't allow him to get down the field.
Well, and at that point, though, Eric, you got the man coverage. Somebody's got to get open on that man coverage to help Sam out a little bit there. So it'll be 4th and 10 now for the Boomers. Cash Shipley into play. He's had a couple good ones, but he's going against the wind right now. So he'll be punting about his own 23. Here's where he'll catch the snap from. This time clean, puts a boot into it. Bit of a sidewinder that's carrying there, and it's going to take a straight-up bounce right about the 35 and roll back to about the 33, and that's where Newcastle will take over at their own 33. Saw a little punt there by Mr. Ship. So 21-6, Newcastle on top. Woodward going to try to come up with a stop here, because they need one to kind of get some of that momentum back like they had in that first half. This will be Jackson Burt in the gun. Carson Bolson with him. 2 receivers to the far, 1 to the near, and a tight end as well to the near side. Burt takes the snap. Bit of a low one. Handles it. Fakes the handoff. He's going to try to bounce outside. Gets corralled, though. Ethan Matt, I believe, on him first right there. Cut it back in. And he's going to get maybe about a yard or 2 and bring up 2nd and 8.
Ethan Matt, Mason Boring, I think.
Good read there by Ethan Matt to be able to cut that one back in on Burt. Make sure he did not get the outside gap.
Excuse me, Cason Boring was on that tackle.
There you go. So they're going to call it 2nd and 7. And Boomers jumped off sides again. That makes the 3rd one of the night. You cannot do that.
That one's going to be on Hunter Harrison.
I mean, I understand the D-line trying to get aggressive, but man, cannot cost themselves those yards, especially on a 2nd and 7. Now it's 2nd and 2.
Yeah, I think something definitely caused them to trigger, because there's about 3 or 4 guys who were ready to go on that.
2nd and 2 now. Newcastle trying to get to the 43. Ball's on the 41. Burt in the gun. Go hand off inside to Bolster. He's going to bounce outside here to the near side. Got a bit of room. Gets up to near the 50 and does get to the 50 before he gets pushed out of bounds. Easily has the first down there and a gain of 9. And Newcastle moved the chains.
Looked like it was Carson Medina was there on the pull down.
Being able to push him out, save some of those yards. Bolster, though, he's, for as much as the size as we talk about he's got, he's really had a nose to try to bounce outside a couple times here, surprisingly. Usually more of an up-the-gut type of guy. 1st and 10 for Newcastle. Bird in the gun, got 2 up-backs with him. 2 receivers near, 1 to the far. Burt going to take the snap, going to fake the handoff, take it up the gut stuff. He's got a hole. Across the 45, puts his elbow or his shoulder into it. He gets taken down just inside the 42, not quite the 41, and that'll bring up about a 2nd and a short 2 for Newcastle.
It's going to be Talon Laird dragging him down.
Just some lead blocking ahead right there for Jackson Burt off the fake handoff.
Beza was in on that tackle too. That Beza's been really impressive the past 2 games.
He's been probably at least 10, 15 tackles now between the last 2 games, maybe more. He's been flying around. Burt in the gun, takes the handoff, fakes the handoff, looking for a pass, going for a man, looks for Alex Logan, pass incomplete, airtight coverage by Talon Laird. The crowd for Newcastle wanted a flag, but that just looked like good coverage by Talon Laird.
Yeah, and you said new flags. Newcastle was wanting a flag down there downfield, but there was also a major hold back here as well. He may have been able to bring him down in the back if it wasn't for a hold.
So there you go. Kind of offsets, if you will. 3rd and a short 2 for Newcastle. Under center, Berg going to try just taking himself. Lunging forward. It looks like he got across the 40. We'll see where they spot it. Going to be right near that stick. And it looks like the official down here on the near side has it at the 41. They will call that first down. So on 3rd and short, Jackson Burt just plunges ahead for a couple yards. 1st and 10 for Newcastle. Under a minute to go here in the quarter. Burt under center, fakes the handoff. He's going to roll out to the far side. Going to fire a pass over the top, looking for Stumard.
Wow!
And incomplete. Great coverage down there, trying to get a number on that.
Cooper Latal, number 5, the freshman or sophomore.
Sophomore, little size mismatch, but Cooper Latal able to break that one up in one-on-one coverage.
Like I said, that was great coverage. It looked like the Newcastle receiver was potentially able to come around and catch it kind of that, behind his head type of catch, around him, and Littall was able to get a hand up in there and knock it away.
And played it clean. Just got the hands in there. Didn't get the body in there, got the hands in there. 2nd and 10. Burt in the gun, 2 receivers each side. He'll take snaps. It's going to be a little swing pass down here to Logan. Logan going to cut up field, gets across the 35, gets down to about the 31, it looks like. About 31 and a half. No call for 32. Now bring up a 3rd short. You got to get about a 3rd and 3 here coming up for Newcastle from the Boomer 32. 8-yard gain there.
Great coverage, though.
Yeah, not much room to work with, but Logan's speedy, so he could take a little into the lock. Burt in the pistol. TJ Bradford with him in the backfield. The pitch to Bradford on the edge. He cuts it back across 30, 25. He's got a hole. He's going to walk into the end zone. TJ Bradford, my goodness, the freshman is having a ball game and killing the Boomers right now.
He is so hard to see when he gets in there with a bunch of people around, and that's what's killing the Boomers.
Another big run for Bradford, 32 yards this time. He's approaching 200 yards in the ball game, folks. He has been that explosive. As Eric mentioned, they just essentially pitch it to him. He gets behind 3 or 4 big guys, and by the time you find him, he's already cut up the hole.
Gone with the wind.
Definitely in this case. On for the extra point here. Ball is now mishandle on the snap, and this is going to be a failed extra point by Newcastle. Extra point no good, as the hold was not clean at all, and so it'll stand at 27-6 here with 37 seconds in the quarter. We'll keep it right here as we've used our timeouts. But guys, now all of a sudden Newcastle's put up a 20-point 3rd quarter, and Woodward's found themselves in a hole. I imagine the message is for Coach Lucci to hear, hey, focus on your job, do your job, and see what you can dig out of this 4th quarter. It's not necessarily out of reach, but you're going to have to start answering on some of these drives.
I think you're exactly right there. Unfortunately, the score and where the clock is, your back's against the wall. This doesn't really fit the Boomer offense very well. They're not made for quick plays, for explosive plays, and they're going to chip away. So at this point, you continue to try to do that and just try to build something going into the 4th quarter.
And that drive right there, a 9-play, 67-yard drive by Newcastle, and capped off again by that 32-yard rush by TJ Bradford. He's up to, I believe we got him for 2 touchdowns now in this ball game. 2 big ones. 37 seconds left to go in the quarter. Newcastle set to kick this one off. They've had a couple touchbacks here. They can win with them. See if they get another one. Taylor Laird and Carson Medina backed up deep inside their own 5 on the hashes. And that kick, another Boomer as well, and that will carry into the end zone, almost to the back of the end zone, and a touchback for Woodward. Going to start at their own 20 with 37 seconds in the 3rd, trailing 27-6 right here. And see how they answer in this one.
Guys, I want to recognize this facility they have here in Newcastle. Field with the field house down at the end. You got the weight rooms overlook the field. It's a beautiful facility they got. And you got to think that the stands are kind of next on their list.
Well, Eric, to that point, they announced they approved an $80 million bond pregame, so I imagine that's probably part of that.
That's got to help a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, I talked with CJ about those facilities as well. And it looks like Woodward going to have to burn a timeout here before the end of the quarter, as the play clock was running down to about 3 seconds. And Coach Luchin called for that timeout, so maybe just didn't like what he was seeing there. So that'll leave you with 2 for the 4th quarter. But yeah, I know, Eric, talking with CJ about that. This is my first time down in Newcastle. I don't know if you've been here quite yet before either, but yeah, some impressive facilities for sure. And pass another bond. And I mean, when you're able to add on and support the programs like that, it makes a difference, So
yeah, absolutely. And that's just whenever you have weight facilities and facilities like this, that doesn't help just the athletic department. That helps everybody. Because you have PE classes, weight classes, things like that. Every student takes. So when you have facilities like that, it only improves the health overall of every student.
And to Coach Luch's credit, that's something he's heavily pushed here in his time is the weight room, and he's really he's got a weightlifting program now and has been able to host a couple weightlifting regionals. So maybe be able to get some of that to kind of match that as well. First and 10 for the Boomers from their own 20. Handoff inside. Ace Long, he's got a hole, cuts up to 25, dives forward, gets near the 30. Going to be right on. It's going to be close to a first down. And that's what you want to see there from the Boomers. One carry for Ace and just an explosive 10 yards. There's going to be a second and about a couple inches here, it looks like.
Way to find the pocket and way to get in it and then almost get a first down.
And that's the kind of play you hope to see anyways, but especially coming out of a timeout that you're forced to use essentially, is come out and just at least make something out of having extra time.
3 seconds here on the game clock. Will they get the snap off for them before they do? The handoff inside to Ace Long, trying to get that first down. I think he got across the 30. See where they marked it. Got the judge here on the near side. Looks like he's got it at 31. And still trying to figure out where they're going to spot that one.
We got a flag over here.
Oh, we do. Oh, boy. That's unfortunate. Is that going to be against the Boomers, Eric, you thinking, or no?
I honestly don't know. I didn't see the ball until they were talking to Coach Lugens.
The way the official has the ball, it looks like it.
Well, we'll sort out that flag when we come back, because this is the end of the third quarter. Your Boomers trail 27-6 to the Newcastle Rushers. We'll step aside and bring you all the action in the fourth. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Boomer Football on Z92 and Boomer TV. Dakota Wagner, Eric Scott, Tyler Riggs with you as we begin the fourth quarter here in Newcastle. Woodward trails 27-6, but with the ball, and it looks like they had a penalty right there before it, on the last play, I should say, of the third quarter. I believe Dakota said it looked like a false start, and that appears to be what it was.
It was a false start on Woodward, unfortunately.
So the first down marker's at the 30. They had a second and short, second and inches, so instead now it'll be a 2nd and 5 from the 25-yard line here. It's going to be Sam Cheap in the gun, Ace Long with him, trips to the near, one to the far side. Taylor Laird, the nearest receiver here in the trips. Cheap going to take the snap and land off inside Ace Long. He's going to find a hole a little bit, plunge forward, get across the 25 to about the 27, so a couple of yards there on the gain, and that will bring up third down, about along 3 it looks like. And the 5-yard penalty to back it up, and now you got a third short. Playbook still open here, guys. Just got to try to find something. It doesn't have to be an over-the-shot or over-the-top type of shot. See if they go with maybe a little play action. So it'll be Cheap in the gun, Long with him, 2 to the near, 2 to the far. Cheap takes snap, back to pass, looking. He's got man underneath. That one, through the hands of his receiver, though, Mason Bourne. A little out route right there. Looked like right at the 30-yard line. Would have had it, but just couldn't haul in, and that'll bring up a fourth down.
And how many of those missed opportunities have we had tonight where it's hit our receivers right in the hand and they just dropped it?
Yeah, you got to get those. Got to get those. That's
critical.
Critical, yeah, definitely critical, and it's been on third downs. I mean, the play calling's been there. You just got to
every time.
Just got to convert them. So Cash Shipley back to punt. Ball at the 15, or he's going to receive this at the 15 by the time he catches the snap. Back deep, got 2 returners for Newcastle. Bradford one of those, Shawnell the other one. Shipley fills this one cleanly and puts a good boot into it with the wind carry. And it's a big bounce all the way inside the 10. Stop, ball, stop, inside the 5. It gets down at the 4, maybe the 3. And Shipley with the win, able to put a really good punt into that one and trap Newcastle within their own 5.
Tyler, just when you think it's about to roll into the end zone, it takes a stop.
It dug in a little bit, so that was good.
And this is exactly what we saw first before we had them backed up,
Yeah.
After a long punt like that.
I'll see if the Woodward defense could stand tall, get some of that momentum back. You get a stop here. I mean, you still got plenty of time. You're down 3 scores, but you got time to work with. You're able to get a quick stop and 3 and out. So Newcastle going to take over from their own 3 with 11:03 to go in the 4th. It's going to be Burt in the gun. Got Bolster back there with him. Takes a snap, handoff inside to Bolster, fights through a tackle, gets across the 5, and gets tackled about, it looks like, the 8-yard line, not quite the 8, a bit short of the 8, for a short little gain there, but one that gets them out of the shadow, if you will, of their own end zone, or just about.
Good job by Hunter Harrison getting to the line. He actually touched him at about the 2 first. Unfortunately, he was able to break away, but still good job by the Boogers to, cause a little bit of pressure.
And they've been good about that tonight. Really, we see them fire through those gaps and get some early pressure, either on the run or pass. Bird in the gun, second about 5 from the 8. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, looking to pass, going one-on-one, going for the deep shot to Shanel, and that one just over his outstretched hands, incomplete. Mason Boring on the coverage, was about with him step for step, but you got to credit Bird. He put that in a place where either Shanel was getting it or nobody was getting it. Comes up incomplete, 3rd and 5 now for Newcastle. We'll see what Newcastle dials up here. Seeing if we could hear what the money raised there for Dakota's Market. I think they just announced it. I'll follow on that up in the post game. Newcastle tried to get the Boomers to get up there on a hard count. This time they do not, so they'll change the play. Burt in the gun, puts a man out in motion, 3 receivers to the near now, 2 to the far. Burt looking to pass, looking short, he's going to tuck it, try to run, and he gets across the 10, gets up to about the 12, so not going to quite be a first down, as he'll come up short. And decision time here for Coach Brickman at Newcastle.
I wouldn't go for it.
Can't imagine they go for it. This is going to be really, really tight here on the 4th down after the scramble. About a 5-yard scramble. Well, I'd say a 5-yard, about a 3-yard scramble there.
If they can't convert, this is going to look really ugly for Newcastle.
Try and get on the hard count. Now to look back to the sideline.
Trying to make them jump is what it looks like they're trying to do, Tyler.
You might see a timeout upcoming here. Play clock down to 8, and there it is. There's the timeout. So good job by the Boomers. Disciplined to not jump off sides there. Cost themselves 5 yards. And on the timeout, we'll step aside with them. Woodward trails 27-6 to the Racers with 9:36 to go in the ballgame. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Newcastle as Dakota Wagner, Aaron Scott, and Tyler Riggs with you. Boomers trailing with 9:36 to go in the 4th, 27-6, but they have forced a 3 and out and will get a punt here from Newcastle. Punter backed up into his own end zone. Nobody's deep right now for Woodward. They might try to make sure this isn't a fake, and sure enough, it's not. Boot into this one. Punter kicking into the wind. That one's going to take a favorable bounce for the Boomers and stop at about the 36. And Woodward going to start in very plus territory here at the Newcastle 36-yard line.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good punt anyways, and then you got the little bit of a breeze.
Yeah.
And that kind of got up there and just kind of hung.
So Woodward 1st and 10, a chance to get this one closer. If you could punch this in quickly enough, you're only down 2 scores.
Might have a little bit of time. That defense for Woodward is going to have to keep sticking strong and keep forcing 3 and outs.
That they are. So it's going to be Sam Cheap in the gun with Ace Long there with him. 2 to the near, 2 to the far. Cheap, back to pass. Looking, still looking. Going to fire to the sideline, trying to get Cash Shipley there on the far side. Couldn't quite get it, though. That one a bit out of the reach of Shipley.
He was looking for Shipley, but if you were to look for Carson Medina, he had a little bit of an open path there, close to about the 15-yard line, 20-yard line.
So incomplete pass there brings up a second down. 9:18 to go now. Still like the aggressiveness. We'll see how we go here on 2nd and 10. Cheap going to be in the gun. Along with him in the backfield. 2 receivers to there, to the far. Layered the nearest receiver here. Cheap takes snap, looking to pass, looking to the far side. Got a man quick, hit,
That's
caught.
Cash Shipley, I think.
And it is Cash Shipley, and right near that stick. It's going to be right on it. 10-yard gain. Will they give him the first down?
Looks like they are.
I think you are correct there. It looks like
Move the
it's gonna
chains,
be
he
a
says.
first down. So a nice completion there, and went right back to Cash after the incompletion. You like the accuracy from your quarterback, Sam Cheap.
Yeah, great job by Shipley too. Also, you know, he went straight to the sticks and cut in, and just to allow Cheap to make that good throw.
So 1st and 10 for the Boomers at the Bethany 26. Man in motion cross formation. It's Medina, handoff inside though. Ace Long makes a cut, cuts it up, gets across the 35, gets tripped up right there at the 33. Nice little 4-yard gain. Brings up a 2nd and 6. Thought for a second, guys, that Ace was about to bust that one, but good shoestring tackle there by Newcastle.
You know, I was just sitting here saying, actually the same exact thing, that, you know, with these cuts that Ace is making, he's getting 4, 5, 6 yards. You got to think at some point one of those is going to bust,
yeah,
and he's going to go.
Absolutely. So 2nd and 6 here for the Boomers. Ball to 23 now. Cheap in the gun, 3 to the far tight. 1 to the nearest, layered on the near. Ace Long in the backfield. Snap taken by Cheap. He's rolling to that short side. Looking to pass, going to float a pass to the end zone, and just a bit too far for his man. Looked like that may have been Carson Medina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's one of those situations where Medina actually ran out of bounds. So I think, you know, that's always a good thing that he's unable to catch that.
Yeah, it would have been illegal on the touch. Actually, it was Zane Weibel, excuse me. The receiver intended. So incomplete now, brings up a 3rd and 6. And guys, you need to get this first down. I don't think you can quite take field goals here. 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns with 8:06 to go in this one, trailing by 3 scores.
Thank you, guys.
Cheap going to be in the gun. Going to have 2 receivers to the near side. No, excuse me, trips to the near side, 1 to the far. Long in the backfield with Cheap. Taylor Laird, the nearest receiver. Snapped a bit low. Cheap corrals it, rolls to the short side, steps up, and gets pushed out of bounds hard there.
Takes Coach Lujan down.
And a sack, we'll call it. And Michael Jarko, the big senior linebacker we talked about in the pregame, just ball hawked Cheap there all the way. Even got Coach Lujan.
Yes. And that is a hard dude to take down from what I hear.
Yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, a 4-yard loss on the sack. That one really didn't get a chance to develop.
Guys, I get nervous passing Coach Lujan in the hall, so I wouldn't want to have to meet him on the football field.
You don't want to catch him in a bad mood.
Looks like we got a timeout, Tyler.
And we do have a timeout for the Boomers. So with 7:56 to go here in the 4th, we'll step aside and bring you back for the rest of the ball game. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. And welcome back here to Boomer Football on Z92. Co-writer Eric Tyler Riggs with you. 7:56 to go in the ball game. Newcastle on top, 27-6 over your Boomers, and Woodward now facing a decision here on 4th and 10. Ball sitting on the 26, and it looks like going to try to go for it. Probably the right call. You can't really afford to take field goals here at the moment. Need to go for those touchdowns, and we got the score. Oh, scoreboard went out there for a minute. It's back on. So it's going to be Cheap in the gun. Got trips to the near, one to the far, along with him in the backfield. 4th and 10. Cheap back to pass. Looking. Still looking. Has time. Going to fire. Got a man short. It's through his hand zone. Incomplete. Mason Boring, who would have caught it about the 20 and had a chance to turn upfield and get that first down, but instead incomplete and a turnover on downs for the Boomers.
Yeah, and again, I feel like it beat a dead horse here, but
yeah,
another ball hits you right in the hands and you drop it.
Wide open. You got to make that catch. And Mason, hey, he's a sophomore. He's been improving at a rapid rate. Receiver's kind of a new spot for him this year that we're seeing. So, but man, yeah, drops, and T.J. Bradford, the story of the night here for Woodward so far. Newcastle takes over at their own 26, 7:49, excuse me, to go in this one. Burt going to take the snap, and we got a whistle and a flag. So
looks like Woodward jumped, I think.
Fortunately, as you're saying, Woodward might have jumped.
No, false start.
So false start on Newcastle. Back him up 5 yards to the 21. It'll be a 1st and 15 now for the Racers.
It looked like Ethan Matt jumped, but not the case.
Hey, he was just reacting to the offensive line.
Well, you know, there's been multiple times where they called a defensive offsides, you know, after it looked like the offense jumped. So I was kind of surprised that it was actually the offense who got the call on that one.
Right. 1st and 15 now. Burt going to be in the gun. Bolster with him in the backfield. 2 to the far, 1 to the near. Also a tight end on the far side. Burt takes the snap. He'll turn hand off into Bolster here. Inside, he's fallen a couple blocks. Gets across up to the 25. And nope, they'll mark him at the 26. So got back that penalty yard. He'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
Scrimmage.
And I imagine Newcastle here going to play pretty conservative. Try to make sure they drain some clock. And just kind of put Woodward in a pickle that way and a race against time. Especially with only 1 timeout on the board for Woodward right now. 2nd and 10 from the 26. Bird in the gun. Goes with a hard count, now looks to the sideline. Got trips receivers here to the near, 1 to the far. Bolster in the backfield. Now the snap. Burt going to hand off inside to Bolster. He's got a hole across the 30. And gets up, tackled at about the 33-yard line. So looks like a 7-yard gain there. Maybe a 6. And yep. Call it 3rd and 3, 4-ish, if you will. See if Woodward can come up with a stop here and get off the field again and try to give the offense another chance. Newcastle definitely taking their time. They're not even trying to line up until there's 10 seconds on the play clock. 6:33 to go in this one now. Burt going to be in the gun. T.J. Bradford with him in the backfield. Snap, pitched over to Bradford, short side. He's racing across the 30. Now the 35 gets over the first down marker and up to the 40-yard line. And Newcastle will convert on 3rd and short. T.J. Bradford again coming up with a big first down.
And I said it earlier, after his big run, the Boomers are having trouble seeing him once he kind of gets in there behind the line. He is a smaller guy, you know, but luckily somebody was able to recognize it from behind and come around and bring him down.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's getting 3 or 4 yards there, to your point, before he's identified. That's just kind of the issue, unfortunately. 1st and 10 for the Racers at their own 40. Snap, handoff inside. This time it's going to be Brady, I believe, out there. Brady Corbin, yep. And he'll get across the 45 up to, it looks like the 47, maybe 48. 47 is where they'll mark it. So that's going to be a 7-yard gain. No, I was right, 48. They're just playing in between on it. So another, we'll call that an 8-yard gain there. Brady Corbin on the carry. Newcastle, 2nd and short. Burt going to be in the pistol. It'll be Brady Corbin with him in the backfield again. Hard count, no avail there. Got 2 receivers here to the short side, 1 to the far side. Burt takes the snap, gonna hand off. Nope, gonna pull it. No, he will hand off there to Corbin. And Corbin gonna get across the 50, cross into Boomer territory at the 47, and another first down for Newcastle. 6-yard gain there, and now Newcastle just trying to wind down that clock. We're down to 5:10 left in this ball game, and they are doing everything they can here to drain it. And that was snapped with about 5 seconds on the play clock. Going to be Burt lined up in kind of a power save. He's got 3 up backs. Bradford one of those. 2 receivers to the near side. Hand off to Bradford. He's going to try to bounce out. Gets across the 45. Breaks out of the tackle.
Wow.
Cuts back across. Now slips up at about the 42. So he gets another 5 right there. It brings up a 2nd and 5. Nope, excuse me. He gets 6. 2nd and 4 upcoming. And just, again, that power formation, guys, so hard to identify him, as Eric's been mentioning. He's just been killing them all night. I'll have to tally it up here. But I believe he's over 200 yards now at this point. I'll get official count on that here in a minute. Snap by Bird, taken, pitched over to Bradford. Who else here to the short side? Gets across the 40. Pushed out of bounds. This could be right on top of the stick. It looks like he's going to get it by a few yards, though.
Mason Boring there to drag him down, number 14 for the Boomers.
And Bradford did get up to the 36, so that's going to be a first down. So he gets up there for another about 6 yards.
You guys, hopefully going into next week, we can continue to figure out a way, game plan to keep the offense on the field. Because by the time you get to the second half and the defense has been out there, so
yeah, they're a little bit worn out.
Yeah, worn down. A lot of hits on hits.
4:10 to go now here in the quarter, or in the game. Berg going to swing a quick pass out there to Alex Logan, and he's going nowhere quick, as that was good coverage over there by Carson Medina to come in and get on the stop. Let's see who else that was with him. That'll bring up a 2nd 10, maybe Hayden Hillier, I believe.
It was hard to see down there.
It looked like 25.
Yep, it looks like it looked like Hayden Hillier, yep.
So Carson Medina, Hayden Hillier on that swing pass. No gain. 2nd and 10 now for the Racers. Time, though, keeps winding down to 3:40 left in the ball game. Burt in the gun. 2nd and 10, takes the snap. He's going to hand off there to Brady Corbin. He's going to bounce out the right side, cuts upfield a little bit, finds a gap, gets up across the 35 to the 30. Not quite the 30, they'll say. Nope, they will say the 30, and he'll get knocked out of bounds there after a gain of, it looks like, 6.
Zane Weibel, number 33, getting in on the action there.
So 3rd and about, we'll say 5 here. I'll say a short 5, if you will, upcoming for Newcastle. Burt in the gun, back there by himself. Going to drive back to pass. He's looking. Going to fire it. Got a man open the middle. It's caught and into the end zone for a touchdown. Trey Burchett. And Newcastle essentially going to put a bow on this one from 30 yards out. Trey Burchett gets the pass on the money from Jackson Burt there. And Newcastle is going to take a 33-6 lead. Now the extra point getting lined up here for. Snap, ball is down, kick is up, and that one is good. So 2:51 left to go on this one, and Newcastle takes a 34-6 lead. And Eric, I think you're right. Just unfortunately, defense just getting a bit worn down here in the second half. That third quarter kind of put things in a tough spot. Now Newcastle really caps it off with that drive.
Yeah. Really?
Nope, losing a bit.
Really, that was the first drive of the game where, it just chip away, chip away, chip away. There really wasn't a big play.
Right. Yeah, that leading up to that 30-yard strike, you had 5 yards, 7 yards, 7 yard, 8 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards. So, to your point, not humongous gains, but just consistent, and got in. 11-play drive there for Newcastle as they go 74 yards to be able to get that one in.
Boomers are going to be working with 2:51 on the clock.
And now you find yourself in a spot that you got one timeout, you're down 34-6, and essentially you're just trying to find something here going into next week. Going to be homecoming against Cash. Should be a fun one up there at Boomer Stadium to start district play, which, as we talked with Coach Luch, is kind of the important mark. We mentioned with CJ earlier when we were over on K101, you could go 0-3 in your non-district, if you will, and all it takes is just winning those district games to be able to get into the playoffs. Kickoff upcoming here. This one going to be kicked here to the near side. Going to be fielded there at the 25 by Carson Medina. He's got back. He gets across the 40 and gets tripped up and brought down there. Had a hole for a second, but a good return still by Medina. That'll give the Boomers some good field position.
If he didn't get tackled right there, that would have been to the races, to the end zone.
Just might have been, for sure. Just might have been.
Don't know if it would have been a touchdown, but it would have been a foot race.
So the Boomers will take over 1st and 10 at the 44 is where they'll give it to them.
He is your one-stop shop in Newcastle for service you deserve in the 561. Our thanks to Eric
It's going to be Sam Cheap out there. Will be in the gun with Ace Long. Going to have 2 to the far, 2 to the near. Be a handoff. Taylor Laird across the formations. Got a hole. Cuts it up. Oh, Jukes leaps, hurdles, but gets brought down. Does get enough for that first down, though. Getting to the 45 into Newcastle territory.
You know, Laird with his speed right there actually outran his blocker, Ace. Ace was in front of him, and he outran Ace.
That's tough to do because Ace is pretty fast himself.
Glad to see Talon get to turn on the Jets there, Tyler.
Oh, and it feels good for him, I'm sure. They'll call that about an 11-yard run right there for Mr. Laird on the end around.
Like to see some more of those. Looks like we got a timeout on the field, possibly.
And we do. I believe it's going to be Newcastle taking this one. So 2:18 to go in this one. Newcastle will take it. We'll keep it here, though, I should say. And guys, you know, obviously you're not going to be able to come back in this one, but I think, especially in that first half, the best effort, best start we see from the Boomers defense tonight, I thought, for the most part, outside of T.J. Bradford just being able to bust loose on a couple big plays, defense has been pretty stout outside of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I think the defense did really well. And really, it was the second half when Bradford started to really run wild in the second half. You know, several big plays, and I think those are the type of plays that really gas our guys, and they started struggling a little bit from that point on. But you know, whenever it's been those opportunities to get into the backfield, they have been able to get back there. You know, and those are the things you like to see them continue to build on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I'll have an update on how many yards that man ran for here tonight in just a minute as we get into the post game, because it is and Eric, like you said, I think by the looks of it, I have him for just about 25 yards there in that first half. So he really exploded in the second half, as you were talking about. 1st and 10 for the Boomers. Cheap in the gun. Gonna drop back to pass. He's looking, got time, gonna fire deep's got a man. It's Hill-Laird caught at the 15, the 10. He's gonna go into the end zone for the touchdown. Boomers get one here late. Unfortunately, not gonna quite be enough. Clock is still, they finally stopped the clock, but a big connection there from Sam Cheap and Taylor Laird from 45 yards out. Beautiful route, beautiful throw by Cheap, and that's a Boomer touchdown.
Finally get to see Laird kind of get his little flash there.
Yes, sir. And it had all the yards on that play, or on that drive, 56 of them.
Never looked back.
But that was really the first time it looked like one of those that we tried to go deep where everything has kind of fell into place.
No, that's true, Eric. It was good time on the, on Sam being able to throw it, and the route was open, and just hit it. Plain pitch and catch. On the kick here, Ace Long. Oh, they're going to go with the direct snap, and they're going to go with the trick play. Ace is going to float one to the end zone in the corner, and incomplete. Intended receiver, Carson Medina, so the 2-point no good. I mean, hey, why not? Go for 2, put it on film, work on it next week, I guess.
You know, we had that situation in the first half where we weren't sure if it was a direct snap or if it was a busted play. I'm pretty sure that was, after seeing it now, I think it's direct snap. But that's one of those, that's a good thing about having a guy like Ace as your kicker is, you know, you direct snap it like there. He can throw it. He's athletic enough to throw it. He can run it.
Yeah.
Do whatever really you need him.
I mean, and credit to Carson Medina. He had it in his hands. It just slipped right through him. Just couldn't have his hands closed enough to get on that ball.
That one's a bit of a tough catch, though. That's over the top of your shoulder.
And he was covered very well.
He was. But 2 plays, 56 yards on that for the Boomers, and all Taylor Laird, as he had an 11-yard run and then got the 45-yard touchdown pass from Sam Cheap to cap that drive off. So now we sit at 34-12 in this one. 2:05 left to go. Newcastle going to get the ball back. I can't imagine they're going to try to really push things here. We'll see, though. It's going to be Ace Long on to kick this one. He'll be kicking with the wind, so we'll see if he can get one booted into the end zone here, if you will. Here's the whistle. Ace going to put a jog and then a boot into it. That one an end over enter. It takes kind of a weird bounce at the 10. And kick is muffed. Couldn't quite come up with it. As diving on it there was Trey Burchett. Kind of an odd one to field. That one took some weird spin. As it came up a bit short, bounced at the 10, and the Burchett went up to try to catch it and run. Could not. So Newcastle going to start here for their drive at their own 16 after that. With 2:02 left to go in this one. Mind you again, folks, we will be at Boomer Stadium next week for homecoming as Boomers get district play underway with Cash coming into town. Looks like we got new personnel out there for Newcastle. They put in the 2s. Trying to catch that number of the quarterback. Hand off inside, though. No, keeper here. That's number 8. That'd be Caden Longman, the freshman. And he'll keep it for a gain of a couple. Gets across the 20 there to about the 22. So actually gets about, the 21. So he gets about 5.
Looks like it was Hayden Hillier on the tackle.
So Hillier there on the stop, as you mentioned. Newcastle, no surprise here, just going to run things down. Got under a minute 30 to go now in the ball game. Longman back in the gun. Tries to get the hard count. Now looks back to the sideline, changes up the play. In the backfield with him there is Ruben and Rendon Zamora. Snap, handoff to Zamora. He's going to be dragged down quickly, though, for maybe
Hunter
just a yard. And Hunter Harrison on the stop, as you mentioned.
Guys, Hunter Harrison has been all over the field tonight. You know, it's what you like to see out of a senior. He's kind of battled some injuries. You can tell he's gassed and probably a little sore, you know, but he's continuing to battle no matter what the score is.
Well, and really, Eric, I think that front, 3 and really that front 7 has been pretty solid all game long. It's just when Newcastle has attacked those edges with the lead blockers in front, it reminds me a lot of kind of the Clinton sweep, although it's not the Clinton sweep, obviously, but just the way they block it's very similar. 3rd and short here. Now a keep by Cade Longman. He busts out the outside. He's got space. 35, 40, 45, 50. It's a foot race. Mason Morgan trying to chase him down. 20, 15, 10. He's into the end zone for the touchdown. Oh, my. A big scamper there. That one.
We got a flag back here.
Do have a flag back, so this one might be coming back. Newcastle crowd was loving it. Freshman on the scamper. Would have been, currently is, a 77-yard touchdown run, but we'll see where the flag is. It looks like it's coming back, guys.
Yep, said it was holding on one of their players.
No, blocking
the back.
So erase that one with 20 seconds to go. Newcastle not going to get the score.
That was one of those situations where as he was starting to break open, the guy was coming across the field, you know, and the offensive player was trying to do everything he could just to kind of try to keep him from cutting him off. Probably got a hand on his back and fell, and easy call.
So we'll get the ball here now at the 37, their own 37. So they do move up from the 23, but touchdown came back. Now it looks like victory formation kind of upcoming here. Jackson Burt back in. 20 seconds to go. We'll take the snap, and he will take the knee. And that is going to do it. Your final tonight here in Newcastle is going to be 34-12. The Boomers going to come up a bit short, unfortunately, here to end their non-district run. But, hey, as we mentioned, essentially next week starts over 0-0. You're playing for that district, so we'll see what the Boomers can do on homecoming. We will step aside for a break and come back with the post-game show. You're listening to Boomer Football on Z92. adding up to see how many T.J. Bradford had in terms of yardage real quick. He killed us tonight. I thought he was close.